Hello and welcome back. So, we are getting quite a lot of reruns of the version 2.0 update, those being Feixiao, Jade, Lingaha, Boothill, Robin, and Silverwolf. Today, we're going to go over all the characters, discussing which ones are best for you, and giving them a rating out of 10. The Herta and Aglaia are brand new characters, so they will get their own videos once we get more info, but for now, this video is just going to cover the reruns. If you go on to enjoy this video, make sure to like and subscribe, and join the Express Train Discord server. The link is down below. But without further ado, let's get into the video. Starting with Phase 1, Big Herta will make her debut alongside 3 reruns, those being Feixiao, Jade, and Lingaha. Starting with Feixiao. Feixiao is a win hunt main DPS who focuses on follow-up attack damage and doing big damage in her ult. Many people, including myself, consider her the best DPS in the game, and she has one of the strongest team comps in the game, known as Fart, consisting of herself, Topaz, Robin, and Aventurine. She also has a very good free-to-play light cone in Cruising in the Stellar Sea, along with great 4-star teammates such as Hunt Marsh and Mose. While she is what many call the best DPS in the game, she does have a few issues. First off, she's incredibly reliant on Robin to do big damage, and no other support even comes close. If you want her to be as strong as possible, Robin is a must. Another thing is she's only single target, which can make her a bit harder to use in modes like Pure Fiction, although she's still pretty decent there. And the final thing is, we don't know how hard the new DPS are going to power creep her, leading to her potentially being power crept sooner rather than later. Although it's going to take a lot to power creep her. Overall, if you need a DPS and are willing to get Robin, I'll give her a 9 out of 10. She is incredibly strong, and unless power creep comes extremely hard, expect her to be good for at least a bit.
I want mommy, I want milk, I want to be held, I want to be comforted.
Next up is Jade. Jade is a Quantum Erudition character who focuses on doing sub DPS damage through constant follow-up attacks. Her skill creates a state known as a debt collector to one ally and also buffs her speed. When the debt collector attacks, they lose a bit of HP and grants Jade stacks based on the amount of enemies they hit. And when Jade hits 8 stacks, she launches a follow-up attack. Jade is arguably the best character in Pure Fiction, as she has very good synergy with some of the strongest characters in that mode, such as Herta. She's also pretty good pairing for Blade, as she can drain his HP and can help him get his follow-up attack much faster. She's also shaping up to have very strong synergy with the Big Herta as well, so she's absolutely worth pulling. However, her biggest downside is that she is not the best character in MOC. However, I think the Herta is going to remedy this quite a bit, so it shouldn't be too big of an issue. Her E1 does help quite a bit in modes such as MOC, where you're not consistently fighting 5 enemies, so that is a pretty good option you want to consider if you want to play Jade outside of Pure Fiction. Luckily, she does have pretty decent free-to-play light cones, so you wouldn't really have to worry about that. I think overall, I'm going to give Jade an 8 out of 10. She's a very strong character, however, I think if you don't really need a character for Pure Fiction, you don't really need her. However, she's extremely good at what she does.
Legalize nuclear bombs.
Next up is Lingaha. Lingaha is a fire abundance character who focuses on healing, cleansing, increasing break damage, and doing some pretty good damage on her own through her summon called Fuyuan. She is most often used on break teams, although you can do some funny stuff with main DPS Lingaha. Now, if you've seen my channel before, you probably know my opinion on Lingaha by now. I'd say her pull value is actually relatively low. While she is an amazing character, Gallagher fulfills a very similar role and he's a free 4-star, which makes Lingaha not look as appealing. However, if you need a limb sustain, she's absolutely a top pick and I would definitely recommend her. She also has a very strong E1, which buffs her break efficiency by 50% and weakness broken enemies have their defense lowered by 20%. Overall, while Lingaha is a very strong character, she is a little bit difficult to justify a maximum of 180 pulls when Gallagher is already so overpowered. With that said, I'll give her a ranking of 7.5 out of 10, with that score going up to a 9 out of 10 if you don't have 2 limb sustains or 1 limb sustain and a well-built Gallagher. Next up for Phase 2, we have 3 more characters, those being Robin, Boothill, and Silverwolf. First up, we're going to talk about Silverwolf. Now, Silverwolf is a Quantum Nihility character who focuses on applying debuffs and implanting weaknesses on a single enemy. These debuffs are random based on the members in your party, meaning if you have a wind character in your party, you cannot implant wind weakness if the enemy already has it. She also has a pretty solid 45% defense down from her ultimate, however this is only single target, as opposed to a character like Pella who has an AoE. Her talent gives you one of 3 different types of bugs, one that reduces attack, one that reduces speed, and one that reduces defense. She has a very solid free-to-play light cone in before the tutorial mission starts, and also has a pretty decent E1 as well. But I'll be upfront and honest, Silverwolf is not the best character. She does have some decent usage with characters such as Acheron and occasionally Dr. Ratio since they both want debuffs, and she's also good on Mono Quantum teams for those 2 people still playing Mono Quantum. While Silverwolf's gimmick sounds good on paper, she suffers quite a bit now due to new characters simply being able to implant their own weakness or just ignoring the toughness bar altogether. If you really like her, you can still go ahead and get her, as she still does have a valid use case with a pretty good DPS like Acheron, but other than that, I would not recommend her. Her final score is a 4 out of 10.
He's bouncing off my booty cheeks, I love the way he rides.
Next up is Boothill. Now, I unfortunately do not have Boothill gameplay, so enjoy my artist rendition of Boothill's kit. So Boothill is a physical hunt character who focuses on break damage and stacking his pocket trick shot. When Boothill uses his skill, he enters a dual state and cannot attack other enemies. His basic attack is enhanced and the enemy is taunted to him, and both of them take more damage. When Boothill breaks or kills on an enemy, he gains 1 stack of pocket trick shot. With these stacks, his toughness reduction is increased and he does more damage. When it comes to his damage, Boothill is ridiculously good, and he even got a buff with the release of Fugue, which gives him the ability to run Sustainless to a pretty good effect, as break Sustainless is quite easy to do, and lets him deal with non-physical weak enemies much easier. He's also a very strong break character who doesn't even need super break, and can run an action forward character such as Bronya and now Sunday. He's also not reliant on a light cone and has a very solid 3-star and gacha 4-star options. His biggest issue is that it's unclear how break will be handled going in 3.x, but him not having to rely on super break and only having to break the toughness bar gives me faith he'll remain good. Because of that, he is receiving a 9 out of 10.
One day, after dinner, while my younger sister and I were lounging about in Mr. Gopher Wood's yard.
Last but certainly not least is Robin. Robin is the best support in the entire game. Here's what she gives. Attack, damage percent, extra buffs of 25% crit damage to follow-ups, 100% team 1 action events, and a little bit of personal damage. Her kit is pretty overtuned, and that's mostly why she's amazing in pretty much every team in the game besides Break. And if that wasn't enough, she is a great free-to-play light cone in the Herta store. But if you want to spend a little bit on her, her E1 is really good with 24% res pen, and her light cone is still pretty solid too. She's also a core member of a very strong new team called HSR, consisting of her, Sunday, and Huohuo. And that team is pretty good for most DPSs. It made my Jingliu actually feel like a character again. It was great. She is the closest thing we have in the game to a must pull. If you're on the fence about her, I recommend waiting until 3.1's live stream to see how good Tribby is, so you can assess better if Robin is still worth it or not. But it's pretty obvious that she will be. She has so much going for her that even if she does get replaced, you can just run her on the other side and you're perfectly fine. She is that good. I don't want to oversell a character, but this character deserves every bit of praise that she gets. She is just that good. And all that said, Robin is the first 10 out of 10. Amazing character. If you don't have her, I would 100% recommend picking her up. Before this video ends, I think it's important to say, if there's a character you want here, go ahead and grab them. Don't let me dissuade you from pulling them. Reminder that even though I did rate DPS quite highly, power creep is 100% going to happen, so keep that into consideration before you pull. That's why everyone should pull Robin. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider liking and subscribing so I can feed my family, join the Discord, and please spend responsibly. We'll see you in the next one. Peace.